And we're back here on Center Stage at PrimeTime, Nashville, Tennessee. Joining me on the stage, and I'm going to throw a quote out we might have heard before from deep in the heart of Texas. The one and only CEO of Nationwide Southwest, Mr. Dennis Willich. Dennis, how are you?
Great, Mike, great. How about yourself?
I am still excited. 18 long months since we got to do this. You're here, the Southwest team is here, the Southwest members are here. Tell me what that experience has been like.
Well, Mike, I want to tell you, there's not a member here, and I don't mean just from the Southwest. I haven't ran into anybody at this show that's not pumped. It seems like this. More importantly, it's like it's a joyous event.
Yes.
A joyous event. I mean, everybody's just like pumped and ready to go. You don't hear anything negative. It's just everybody's glad to get together, share, do all the great things that we do, and then, of course, all the great things that you do when you come to PrimeTime.
Yes, and let's talk about some of those.
Yeah.
Let's start at the very beginning. Let's go from the front of the show floor to the back of the show floor.
Yes, sir.
The first thing you're going to run into when you get here are all the great offerings in the digital space. How important is digital to those dealers today?
The most important thing is going to be digital today.
Yeah.
And not for today, but for your future tomorrow. Because if you don't get into the digital today and get started, there may not be a tomorrow. And the reason I say that, we are in a migration where the entire area, all of your marketplaces today, you've been in business 30 years, let's say, and what you had 30 years ago is not there today. A lot of it is gone. A lot of it has migrated. You have new people. I've been delivering to this house for 25 years, and all of a sudden, those people don't live there.
Yeah.
You better be reaching the person that just bought it, and that's the key element with the digital world.
And with everything we've heard throughout this whole show about that shopper journey and where the shoppers are today, and more importantly, where it trends where they're going to be, they're going to stay in that digital engagement, right?
Exactly right. They're going to stay there. And by the way, a journey to purchase, okay? That's what I like to say, a journey to purchase. And in that journey to purchase, where they start and where they end is all that you've got to be worried about. But the thing of it is, there are going to be times, and they're going to start on their journey, and maybe they only get halfway. Mm-hmm. Then they get off the journey, but you've got to corral them and get them back into the journey. So digital allows you to do those things. We can reach out to those people in so many different ways that you cannot do with traditional advertising.
Yep, it gives us a lot of flexibility and a lot of tools at the disposal of those Nationwide Southwest members, right?
Absolutely. Everything. Listen, you get a website, all right, and that's what we start with. Everybody knows that's the foundation.
Right.
And then we got to build, and the foundation's got to have a really good solid base. So you got to have a really good website. A lot of, as I like to say, a lot of rebar in the concrete.
Yes.
And now we can build and put rooms on top of it. So now we got to go to the digital. We got to go to the social. And look at the social media thing. How many different social media things are there now versus a few years ago?
Have you got a TikTok account yet?
Oh yeah, we got TikTok.
You got TikTok. You got Snapchat.
Oh, we got Snapchat.
So you're staying on top of this.
Oh yeah. We and by the way, if I don't stay on top of it, Rosaline makes sure I stay on top of it.
She will make sure you stay there. And now,
it's unbelievable.
Let's talk about keeping Nationwide Southwest on there so every Southwest member has their MBA. Let's start there. Tell me about the MBAs and why they're so valuable.
The MBA, we went into, we've always had a very strong support team in the field from the very, very beginning. And that support team is there to do all of the, I guess you'd say, the spade work and the discovery, bringing the new programs to the members.
Right.
Okay, so Nationwide as a whole, we negotiate, bring things in, and get a brand new program. We still got to put it out there in the field. We still got to engage that member. We got to spend the time with that member, and sometimes that selling game takes a while, and it can't be done by telephone.
Right.
You got to have them out there, and the great thing about this, we went down the road, and for years we called them managers, and about 3 years ago we decided, we really aren't your manager, we're more like your advisor. Right. So we went to call them MBAs. And I'm proud to say that our company has more MBAs than any other company.
Quite a collection. Now, MBAs are great. We couldn't make it without them. They're out there in the field doing a great job, but it just wasn't enough. Again, looking at what's next. How do we help these dealers? We have a new acronym on the Southwest team. We have somebody dedicated to digital now too, right?
Yep, absolutely. So now we have a DMS team. So our DMS team, which stands for the Digital Marketing Services Team, now we have specialized digital marketing specialists that do nothing except hook up with the membership via, it can be webinars, Zooms, whatever, and or in person. But the great thing now by having the two teams is the way it works. So our MBAs they've had a long, several-year relationship. So they've built a great relationship with the member. They can now hand off and do a nice invite for the DMS to come in, sit down, and now we can get into this. And by the way, you have to have this specialty, and I'm going to tell you why. It's changing. And if you don't have somebody that stays on top of it, you fall behind.
Yep.
So that's what our team does.
And that really, I love that point, Dennis. It used to be a lot of skills where if you can dig that post hole, then you know how to dig post holes.
Yeah.
If you can dig that digital post hole today, it probably won't work tomorrow. We'll change all the tools. So that's why you have that dedicated team. And they're staying pretty busy, right?
Extremely busy. And I'll tell you, a great thing about it, we began on this journey in June of 20. So it was in the middle of COVID. And looking at the processes and the different things that were taking place, everything, members were held up. They couldn't open their doors sometimes. Sometimes they could only do an appointment. Some were closed. All of a sudden, the world was upside down, and we got real nervous, said, hey, we better get in gear quick and fast, and we better bring this tool into focus as fast as we can. We put that team together in June of last year, and I'm proud to say that we've signed almost 250 new websites since then.
That's a phenomenal amount of growth right there. Now, let's shift gears, shall we?
Yeah.
We are here in Nashville. We're back at PrimeTime.
Yep.
For a nationwide Southwest member, sum up for me, why is it so critical to attend these shows?
If you do not attend these shows, how can you ever stay on top of all of the evolution and changes going on? How can you possibly, you put the key in the door in the morning, all right? Say, I got my day all set. Close the door behind you, and your day just changed.
Yeah.
Because there are 9 things that you didn't think about is now on your plate. When you get them out of the store and you get them here in person, now that doesn't matter anymore that you're inside your store and everything. You're here.
Yeah.
You're focused.
Yes.
Now, our MBAs now can take that member, move them into position, put them in front of the right elements that they need to be doing. And by the way, all of our people in the field, all of them, the one thing that they need to know, they need to educate themselves on what does this member need versus what this member needs, that one. And this is what I tell them all the time. When you come to PrimeTime, have that list, those hot spots.
Yeah.
And by doing that, what you're going to be able to do is maybe there's only 2 or 3. Make sure that member gets to those 2 or 3, and that way they can get engaged, they can learn, discover, and sign up for what's going to help them in the future.
Absolutely. And we're going to do this again, right?
Oh.
Let's go ahead and say it now. We're going to go to Phoenix in February.
Yes, sir.
I don't want to go to Phoenix in August.
No.
But I'd love to go to Phoenix in February.
I'm going.
We're going.
I might just go up there now and wait out. I'm not sure.
You will have far too much to do between now and then, and you and I both know it. There's a lot going on. Now, we just got through, before PrimeTime, some regional meetings. We got together a little smaller group there in Dallas.
Yes.
Can you tell me the feedback you've heard from the dealers that were there at that event?
It was nothing but 100% positive. They loved it. Actually, you come to PrimeTime, you get the whole show, okay?
Yeah.
But when we went over there, if you remember, that thing was really about education. And for an example, I always look at it like this. We there pretty much honed in on the reasons why you should be doing things, but we didn't try to necessarily sell them on the spot.
Right.
They went there, the things were laid out in front of them, they got a chance to kind of, go back, think about it, absorb it,
Yeah.
and when they came here, they're ready.
Well, and also I think there was something to be said for that regional meeting being a little smaller group.
Absolutely.
Instead of having several thousand people, we only had a couple hundred people. Little easier to get time with you. Little easier to get time with those digital experts like Jennifer Danko. Little easier to get that intimate atmosphere and great feedback. So we'll say it here very quietly. We're working to see if it's possible to do that again, right?
Oh, yes. In fact, I think we are going to do it again. My hope is that we can work it in again this fall. Yeah. And by the way, those smaller groups like that allow you to move that venue around. So you don't have to do it at one spot or one big spot. You can move it into some of the smaller areas. And by the way, by doing the smaller ones, this is a great thing. You're now able to capture some of those smaller dealers and dealers maybe that don't have the opportunity to get into this prime time, but we can still bring the great services and all the great platforms to them.
Even in the state where everything's bigger, we still have some small groups and some small areas we can go visit, right?
Absolutely. We got a lot of them. In fact, if I was to put a list together today, Mike, I would say that in the state of Texas alone, we've probably got 8 to 10 areas that we could do and still have 40, 50, 60 of these people get together.
And one of the things that came out of that as well, Dennis, that I know you heard, I know I heard, those dealers making relationships. That happens here at PrimeTime. Every time dealers get together, they're going to leave with more relationships. How valuable is that?
Invaluable. That's what it is. Networking has always been a high thing on everybody's schedule. They come to PrimeTime, or they come to the regional meeting, they get together. One of the things that came out of that regional meeting, this is good, came out of regional meetings was the time they spent together sitting around a table and just, sharing ideas and just having a good time and being there. That was I'm telling you, that was one of the best things that they said.
Yeah. And we saw it again here too. We had a couple great events here. We had the Little Big Town show over at the Grand Ole Opry House. We had our 50-year celebration last night. And I always find it inspiring when you go to one of those events and it's designed to be social and networking, and you find that group of dealers that they may have just met today, they heard some great stuff, and it's 10 o'clock at night, and they're still swapping ideas, passionately fleshing those out.
That's exactly right. And don't leave out that Palooza, though. Let me tell you, that Palooza thing, I've been running around this floor and talking to vendors all over the place here today. I'm going to tell you, these members that didn't make it into this show, listen, when GE or one of these vendors say to me they sold 2,400 units in Palooza on laundry
minutes.
In laundry. Yeah. And that's it. You got to say to yourself, man, a lot of our members missed that opportunity to take advantage of that. And so Palooza was a big deal. And then, of course, Little Big Town, throwing something like that in here, just having a great evening, letting your hair down and get up there and they got out there and danced and had some fun, yelled, screamed.
It's good for you. It's good for the soul.
It's good. It's good.
Now, talk about good for the soul. If I'm an independent retailer and I'm not in a group, or if I'm not sure I'm in the right group, what should a dealer expect from a group?
What a dealer should expect from a group is a group that's going to look after every single aspect that they are involved in. And when I say look after every single aspect, I mean exactly that. What is your bottom line? What products? What is your margin? Are you adding extended warranties? How about the traffic in your stores? And how can I add another, maybe a totally different line of products? All right? You need to be going in there with the attitude that this is my business. And that's what the MBA has been trained to look for. This is my business. If I owned this store, what would I do to improve it?
Right.
And when you get into that mode and get into that thought process, it's amazing to me. This is really good. It's amazing to me, Mike, that our MBA team will call me on the phone and say, I just left Mike's store, and guess what? He's adding bedding. Wow. And they're thrilled to death.
Yeah.
And so my whole point is, that's what we have to do. And sometimes You may, hey, I may be in your store 6 times before I convince you that you ought to get a little space over here and put something else. Yeah. And you make a lot of money, and also brings in traffic. So all the things like that, but that's just part of it.
Your group has to help you grow your business from all aspects.
Exactly.
Is there any group better than Nationwide?
No, and I'll tell you a story on that. Going back to my 21-year beginning.
So you've been here for 21 years.
21 years.
Of these 50.
Yeah, 21. And let me tell you a story. So we're a little different. We're a co-op, and we have an elected board. And the board called, and I went to work. And when I had the opportunity to move into the position I'm in now, they asked me, would you do this? And I said, only if you join Nationwide. Now, you know why I said that?
You got to tell us.
I'm going to tell you right now. This is a big deal. This is a very important deal. I was a rep for 24 years. I went to all the groups, all of them. And there was a ton of them back there, a lot of them gone now. I went to all of them. I saw what all of them did. I saw all the different programs and services. When it came time, it was a no-brainer. We're going to take Nationwide Southwest. In those days, at the time, it was Key Southwest Co-op, Inc., and we were going to take that into the group. We had other choices, but I said, you've got to go to Nationwide, and that will be where we can really produce what we need to produce.
And I saw a number the other day that I'd love for you to share. Roughly, what was that member count when you first came in, when you took that spot 21 years ago?
231.
231 members. Dennis, what's the membership of Nationwide Southwest stand at today?
1,174.
I'm going to congratulate you on that. It's a lot of folks you're serving. Great team you've grown. Now, how big was your team back then? Did you have one, or was it just you?
Well, no, we had one. So I had, inside I had one full-time and a part-timer, and outside I had a part-timer, worked 3 days a week. And then we started, and after about 6 months, we had our first full-time. So that's how it kind of grew, and it grew into a team of about 10 to 12. And you got to have enough, so as you grow, the main thing, Mike, is once you bring a member on, and this is the key, because you went in the store, and I told you all the great things we're going to do to help you, right?
Yeah.
Well, you better be executing on that mission.
Now we've got to execute and deliver.
We better do some of that, or you're not going to like me.
As membership's grown, you have to make sure you grow that service level to make sure they all get exactly what they deserve.
And when that member calls you and says, your guy came in here, told me all these great things, and I was a little bit like, well, sounds pretty, maybe a little too good to be true.
Yeah.
I'm here to tell you today it was even better than what he said. That's a nice thing, and that's a good feeling.
That's a great phone call to get, and you get it often.
You get that a lot. You get that a lot. And by the way, it makes me feel really good because that means our team is dedicated just as much as I am.
Yes.
I am passionate about independence. That's all we deal with. We don't have any big box stores. We deal with independence. And I'm going to tell you what. You wait and watch what I tell you. We're going to move the independent back into position, and we're going to take back our turf that them big box stores stole from us years ago. We're getting it back, and we're going to bring it on.
It's working. This pandemic helped. We've seen a shift to local. We've seen a shift to a demand for higher service. Only the independent can deliver. So, Dennis, I'll tell you what, we've kept these folks with us for quite a while. They're hanging in there. I need you to leave them with your words of wisdom. I'm an independent retailer. I'm looking to maximize my opportunities. What's the number one piece of advice?
The number one piece of advice, attend PrimeTime. That's my first thing. Make sure you got a website and move it on into digital and social. If you will only do those things right there. So the very first thing is a website, the digital, and the social. And come to PrimeTime. If that's all you do, we are going to really grow together.
Absolutely.
And that is not just a promise. That is an absolute guarantee.
Well, Dennis, I want to thank you on behalf of all your members. I know they do this quite often, but thank you for the passion that you do bring. Thank you for that dedication to helping them win. And now you have laid out the gauntlet. Take back the share that the big box took away. So with that said, we're going to let you go get back at it and get busy doing just that.
All right.
And we appreciate you joining us. Dennis, we appreciate you coming in. And we will see you folks again from Center Stage at PrimeTime.